Stop that bus. Thomas the Tank Engine loves working on this branch line with Annie and Clarabelle. He thought he was doing a grand job. Bertie the bus likes taking passengers along the route to Thomas's branch line to Farquhar. He always likes to race with Thomas. Thomas likes racing with Bertie too. But he knew his passengers would never like that, and neither did Annie and Clarabelle. One day, Thomas was taking on water at Farquhar before his last run back down the valley. Bertie came to see him. "Thomas, why is it that you don't want to race with me anymore?" he asked. "Well, I'd like racing with you, Bertie," replied Thomas. "But I didn't want to upset my passengers. They don't like to be bounced around like balls in a bag. And the fat controller had warned me not to race at dangerous speed. He's worried that I might cause an accident. He told me that passengers are more important than racing." Annie and Clarabelle agreed, but Bertie didn't. "You know, Thomas, I don't think you are bothered," he said crossly. "If you don't like racing with me, then I am not your friend anymore." And he rolled away. "Bertie, I didn't mean that," called Thomas. But Bertie had gone. Thomas was upset. "I was only making up a reason," he huffed. "Cheer up, Thomas," said Annie. "He's sure agreeing with you," added Clarabelle. "Thank you," said Thomas, but he was not so sure. But for the rest of the day, Thomas tried to make up a reason with Bertie. But Bertie was still cross with Thomas that he took no notice and refused to speak to Thomas. That night, Thomas was in the shed with Daisy. Daisy could see that Thomas was unhappy. "What's wrong, Thomas?" asked Daisy. "Have you just had one of those days today?" "I haven't," replied Thomas. "It's just that Bertie is not friends with me anymore." And he told Daisy everything about it. "Don't be upset, Thomas," smiled Daisy. "I'm sure Bertie will understand about racing safely." Thomas felt better. The next day, Bertie was at Farquhar Station. He had to take the Sodor school team to the football ground to practice for their big game. But they were running late and Bertie had to wait. Then Thomas arrived with Annie and Clarabelle. "Bertie, I know you are cross with me, but I'm only saying about our safety." "I'm not staying here talking to you, Thomas," said Bertie crossly, "until you are racing with me again." Before Thomas could answer, Bertie drove away and forgot about the Sodor team who had just arrived to take the bus. "Bertie, come back!" they yelled. "Cinders and ashes!" cried Thomas. "Bertie's left the team behind." "Thomas," said the team leader, "go and stop that bus!" And Thomas raced after Bertie. Thomas caught up with Bertie and tried to call out, "Bertie, stop!" Bertie heard Thomas, but he thought that Thomas was finally having a race with him. "Catch me if you can, Thomas," he called. "Oh no," panted Thomas. "Bertie thinks I'm racing with him." Thomas tried to catch up with Bertie, but the signal turned red. He had to stop. "It looks like I'm going to win, Slowcoach," hooted Bertie. But there was trouble ahead. The workmen were mending a hole in the road. George, the steamroller, was waiting for the tar to fill the road so that he can flat it. George, look out! Shouted Bertie. He braked hard, but it was too late. No one was hurt, but Bertie's front axle was broken. You silly little bus, grumbled George. Just then Thomas arrived with the Sodor team. The team leader was very cross. Bertie, I have arranged you as a bus service to take us to the football ground, and now you have left us behind, he said crossly. Now Thomas will have to take us to the football ground because you are completely damaged. I did try to explain to you, Bertie, said Thomas. And he puffed away with the Sodor team, leaving the shameful bus stranded in the middle of the hole. Butch came to take Bertie to the Sodor recovery unit. As Bertie was being repaired, the Fat Controller arrived to see him. Bertie, you have damaged yourself by causing a great deal of trouble. Sorry, sir, said Bertie. Thomas doesn't want to race with me anymore, so I fell out with him. Well, that doesn't mean you have to go off and leave your passengers behind, boomed the Fat Controller. And Thomas was absolutely right. I have warned him about racing at dangerous speed, and that's how accidents happened. Bertie knew the Fat Controller was right. He felt very sorry for himself. A few days later, when Bertie was mended, he came to see Thomas. I'm sorry I fell out with you, Thomas, he said. You were right about dangerous speed. That's all right, Bertie, said Thomas. We do realise that passengers comes first on the railway, not racing. You know, Thomas, Bertie answered, from now on, you and I will race safely while doing our jobs. Good idea, Bertie, agreed Thomas. Like I said before, you are a very good friend indeed.